What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Bowl game preview predictions are finishing up today. So I have 4 bowl games that I haven't previewed yet, but we're going to preview all 4 of them today. And it's going to be starting out with this one here, coming from the Music City itself in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Music City Bowl featuring the Auburn Tigers and the Maryland Terrapins. Yet another Big Ten SEC showdown in bowl season. And don't worry, we got one more on the way later today there as well. We're going to preview everything having to do with the Tigers and Terrapins here in just a little bit. But before we do that, thank you guys so much for the support the channel has seen as of late. If you want to continue to help show your support, hey, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, continue to watch all my videos, like, comment, share. Really, anything you guys do to interact with the channel helps support what I do here on YouTube, and it does mean a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for making my channel a part of your lives and helping to support what I do here on this platform. I really appreciate it. Now, before we dive on into this game, again, I'll say it only 4 more times today, but sometimes it can be a little tricky to determine, okay, who's opting out, who's under the transfer portal, things like that. So Tiger fans, Terrapin fans, if I miss a name or someone happens to be playing that I think is not playing or vice versa or anything of the sort, please leave it in the comment section down below. I'd be very happy to hear your guys' thoughts on all of that and your insight as fans of the fan base, and maybe you guys know more than I do. But let's go ahead and dive on in here to this game featuring, again, the Auburn Tigers and the Maryland Terrapins, 2 teams that finished right around middle of the road in both of their the conferences, and you could argue why it was a little bit of a disappointing season for both sides. For the Auburn Tigers, hey, there were a couple people coming in here that had pretty lofty expectations for this group under Hugh Freeze, and to a certain extent, it really shone through, especially offensively in the run game. Jarquez Hunter, 865 yards, 7 touchdowns. The quarterback, former Michigan State transfer Payton Thorne, 520 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Thorne offensively, well, I should say Thorne offensively did that with his legs, but with his arm, that's where the big problem with this offense came in. This was not only one of the worst, if not the worst passing attack in the SEC, this was just not a good passing attack, period. Only 1,671 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 picks. This season. So really for Payton Thorne, for a lot of the season, it was a struggle. He really struggled to really find a rhythm. This is a wide receiver group that really struggled to find a rhythm. In fact, they don't have a guy over 350 receiving yards on the year. I mean, Rivaldo Fairweather and Javarius Johnson are both close. 349 yards for Fairweather, 347 yards for Johnson, 9 touchdowns between the two. And then you have Jay Fair with 300 yards there and 2 touchdowns on 30 catches. But again, just not a great passing attack. It's not a great third down offense. However, they do a pretty good job at limiting the turnovers at times. There are games where they can be pretty turnover prone in games where they have won or have close to being won. They haven't really turned the ball over, a.k.a. the Alabama game, and then again, a lot of their wins this year, and the offensive line. This offensive line has got to do a better job against this Maryland defensive front that has really improved from the past couple seasons and can bring pressure, something you have to be aware of here if you are a fan of the Auburn Tigers. But offensively, we know that this offense is going to be run through the ground. And to my knowledge, no real significant opt-outs or transfers offensively. I do believe that Hunter's still going to end up being that back. Do believe that Payton Thorne's going to be that quarterback. I know Robbie Ashford has entered the transfer portal, so Payton Thorne, sitting right there, will be that starter. We'll see if he can find some sort of passing rhythm. When you move over to the squad defensively, I do believe you're going to be without a couple of really key defensive pieces, including cornerback DJ James. Now, he may play here, but I have seen a lot of things circulating that Auburn is going to be without him there in this game. However, this is an offense that, for the most part, pretty good passing defense, not offense, defense. This is the defense that, hey, is pretty good in most categories. I mean, it allows under 22 yards per game. It allows under 375 yards per game. It forces turnovers. It's able to generate pressure. It's a really good third down defense. It will be without some of its stars there on the defensive end, such as DJ James. I do believe that Eugene Asante is playing, but should he sit out, you're losing your leading tackler with 84 tackles and 5 sacks. this season. This is an Auburn defense with a lot of great playmakers, and they're really going to get a tough challenge here when they have to play the Maryland Terrapin offense. However, it's also going to be without a lot of dynamic weapons. Taulia Tagovailoa, younger brother of Tua, will be opting out of this game to prepare himself for the NFL. The all-time leading passer in Big Ten history had 3,377 yards, 25 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions this year. This is a Maryland offense that can be pretty turnover-prone at times. However, you take a look here, and in most categories, I mean, they're pretty good. Now, this offense at times, and I shouldn't even say at times, but for the most part, can be very one-dimensional with its pass game, right? And look, Tagovailoa had a lot of phenomenal weapons to throw to here in this game. Jashawn Jones, Ty Felton, Caden Prather, Corey Dyches, that tight end. That tight end Dyches has opted out. He will not be playing here in this game either. But I do believe you're going to have your top three weapons here for Maryland. And the quarterback that I do believe is going to get the nod here in this game is that of Billy Edwards. Only 4 of 10 this year for a grand total of just 2 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. He is really going to be thrown into the fire here against an Auburn defense that has tendencies to really be good defensively. Haven't really gone through much stats, but 41 pass defended, 11 picks for this Auburn Tiger secondary. They're able to bring pressure. Billy Edwards is going to have to be a guy that's going to have to make some plays. He also does have Roman Hemby, that running back that has averaged 4.9 yards per carry this year, still back there with him as well. You got to be able to limit the turnovers. The offensive line is going to buy him time as well. But moving on over to the defensive end, that is really where a lot of the concern and a lot of the skepticism happened with Maryland entering this season. Well, a lot of that maybe not necessarily fixed fully, but it improved tenfold. It was a pretty darn good Maryland defense this year. They're able to force pressure. They force turnovers. They're a pretty darn solid third down defense. They step up when they need to on the money downs. They defend the run pretty darn well. They average under 130 rush yards per game allowed. The secondary has really stepped up. Out of those 20 turnovers forced, 15 of those have been picks. You have 38 passes defended there as well. Now, you are going to be without one of the leaders there in that secondary, and Tarheeb still leading the way there with 5 picks on the year. You're also going to be without a pretty good linebacker as well in Jay-Sean Barham. He was a top 10 tackler for this team, also contributed 3 sacks for this Terrapin defense. But you still got a lot of really good playmakers here and an Auburn offense that if you can sell out everything towards the run and make them throw the ball, that's going to bode pretty well for this Maryland squad. This all leads me into my what to watch for. They're kind of like your keys to the game. Hey, it's just some things I think you should keep an eye on while you're paying attention to this one. For the Auburn Tigers, I think it's no mystery that we know this run game is going to get going. It's going to have its moments, and we've seen it all throughout the bowl season. Teams that can run the ball coming up against good, if not pretty darn solid run defenses, end up finding their rhythm, and they're able to generate their big play. So I'm not worried about Auburn on the ground, but they need more than that to win this game, especially with the likes of Tarheeb still, that cornerback being out. Can you throw the ball? Is this an Auburn passing attack that's going to find their rhythm if they can? Hey, that's going to bode well here for Auburn. And no, you don't have to throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, but if you can find a consistent passing rhythm without turning the football over, that's really going to help this Auburn offense out a lot, and I'll talk more about why in a second. But if you are this Tiger defense, you need to be able to force Billy Edwards to make mistakes. Again, he's a quarterback with not a lot of playing experience and is nowhere near as good as what Tagovailoa was able to provide to this offense. Force him to make mistakes, make him make plays. Don't let his playmakers make plays, make him make plays, but you also can't let the run game be a factor as well. Again, this is a Maryland team that, given the talent they have at the wide receiver position, at the quarterback position, they didn't really have to run the ball a whole lot. That still can't change. You can't let the run game suddenly become a factor in this game, because if that happens, Maryland's got enough weapons on the outside. No matter who's at quarterback, they're going to end up making that secondary pay, especially if Auburn's going to be without guys like DJ James. But what to make of this Auburn third down mystery? They're not good offensively. They're really good defensively. Something's got to give, right? You either got to be really good, or Maryland's going to take advantage and convert a lot of those third down opportunities, because they are a very good third down offense. Again, being led by Billy Edwards here in this game, he must play efficiently, much like what I've talked about with this Auburn pass game, just needing to find a consistent rhythm. Billy Edwards probably going to have to do a little bit more than that, just given the fact that Maryland as a team this year has only averaged 3.7 yards per carry. Now, I'm not saying that guys like Hemby and McDonald and Littleton can't get it going, because they can, and Billy Edwards himself has 6 rushing touchdowns on the year. So we know Billy Edwards can get outside and run as well, but especially throwing the ball, play efficiently, don't turn it over, just really be smart with the ball. Make this Auburn the secondary really have to work for some things, right? But the Tigers secondary can be vulnerable, again, especially if they're going to be without some of their better playmakers. The run game has to provide value here for the Maryland Terrapins. I've talked about it all video long. You can't just rely on Billy Edwards. You can't put the game on his shoulders, make him win the game. Maryland's not going to win if you do that. But if you can, and look, if Billy Edwards comes out and is a game wrecker, you'll take it. I still think that Roman, Hemby, Littleton, McDonald have to be a factor here in this game. But if you are this Maryland defense, throw all your resources at the backfield. Make Auburn win this game throwing the football. And I think it's exactly how Maryland has a recipe here to win this game. However, I think without the fact that without Tagovailoa there on the offense, that is a massive hit. That's one of the biggest setbacks you can have across any offense across the country, is if you take Tagovailoa out of this Maryland offense. I just don't quite simply I quite simply don't think they're going to be churning as well as they usually would be. I think this Auburn passing attack finds a little bit of rhythm here against this Maryland secondary that is without its best defensive back. And I also think this run game is able to run through this Maryland defensive front as well. Maryland's going to create pressure. They're going to create their negative plays and all things like that. I just don't think Maryland has enough offense to be able to win this game. So that's why I like the Auburn Tigers here. 23-21 is the way I see it playing out. But let me know how you guys see it playing out in the comment section below. And as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.